The prison guard who fell in love with an inmate and helped him escape. This story is weird. So picture this. A correctional officer falls head over heels for a prisoner and ends up helping him break out of jail. Her name was Vicky. And at the time this all began, Vicky was 44 years old, working at a county jail in Alabama. Back in 2009, tragedy hit when her fiance died in a car crash. That moment shattered her. To cope with the grief, Vicky buried herself in her job, working 50 to 60 hours every week. The jail became her world. Over the next decade, she rose through the ranks, earning promotions, winning Employee of the Year not once, but 4 different times, and eventually becoming the assistant director of the facility. But despite all her success, the loneliness never really went away. She still carried the emptiness of losing her fiancé. Then in 2020, something, or rather someone, walked into her life and changed everything. His name was Casey White, no relation, a dangerous criminal already serving 75 years in prison. He'd just been transferred to Vicky's jail while awaiting trial for a separate murder case. Here's where things took a wild turn. Despite knowing what kind of man Casey was, Vicky found herself drawn to him. And strangely enough, Casey was equally interested in her. It started with small conversations, then turned into flirting, and soon the two were secretly dating. Of course, a relationship between an officer and an inmate was completely against the rules, but they didn't care. They're gonna do it anyways. They'd exchange little love notes, sneak phone calls. Somehow he even had a secret cell phone. And according to reports, they even got intimate inside the jail at least once. Their secret romance continued for nearly 2 years. By 2022, Vicky realized that stolen moments weren't enough anymore. She wanted more. She wanted a life with Casey. No bars, no supervision, no hiding. And that's when she began planning something unthinkable: an escape. Her plan was bold. She would help Casey break out, sell her house, take her savings, retire from the job, and vanish with him forever. Sounds like a movie plot, right? But Vicky was dead serious. She started preparing, sold her home, emptied her bank account, bought new clothes for Casey, a getaway car, and even firearms, just in case things turned violent. She even stopped at an adult store to pick up a few personal items for their new life together. The day before their planned escape, she told her coworkers she was retiring, that the next day would be her last day on the job. Everyone was shocked. Vicky was known as the workaholic who practically lived at the jail, and suddenly she was just done. Her colleagues even threw her a small farewell party to celebrate her retirement. The next morning, during her final shift, Vicky told the staff she needed to escort Casey White to a mental health evaluation at the courthouse, a routine trip, or so it seemed. But that court appointment didn't exist. It was the first step of their escape plan. She took Casey out of his cell, walked him through the jail, and out the front doors, all caught on surveillance cameras. In the footage, Casey walks behind her, which immediately broke standard safety protocol. Violent offenders are never supposed to walk behind officers, but at the time, no one questioned it. Vicky then loaded him into her patrol car. They drove to a nearby parking lot, ditched the police vehicle, changed clothes, and switched into the getaway car she'd bought earlier. Then they hit the road, gone from Alabama in minutes, heading north toward Tennessee. Back at the jail, hours passed, 6 to be exact, before anyone realized something was wrong. When they couldn't reach Vicky, the sheriff reviewed the footage. The moment he saw it, he knew. Vicky had broken every rule. No backup officer, the inmate walking behind her, no official paperwork for the trip. It was obvious. This wasn't a kidnapping, it was a planned escape. Investigators soon found her abandoned patrol car at that parking lot, along with security footage showing them driving away in a new vehicle. Since they had crossed state lines, the U.S. Marshals were now involved, and the manhunt began. Meanwhile, Vicky and Casey knew the walls were closing in. They couldn't stay in one car for long, so in Tennessee, they ditched their getaway vehicle, stole a truck, and drove more than 170 miles north into Indiana. Once there, they switched cars again, this time picking up a gray Cadillac at a local car wash. They rented a motel room nearby and laid low, thinking they'd made it. But they made one fatal mistake. The security camera at that car wash caught them on video. When police reviewed the footage, they finally had their lead, a gray Cadillac linked to the fugitives. After 11 days on the run, officers spotted the car parked outside a motel. They set up surveillance, waiting for the right moment. Soon, the pair got back into the car, and that's when the chase began. Police tried to pull them over, but Vicky and Casey weren't giving up. They took off, speeding through the streets with sirens blaring behind them. It turned into a full-on high-speed pursuit. Eventually, Casey lost control. Their car veered off the road, hit a police cruiser, slipped, and crashed into a ditch. Trapped in the wrecked car, surrounded by officers, Vicky panicked. She knew what awaited her: prison. Not as a guard this time, but as an inmate. Unable to face that reality, she took her pew-pew and boom! She tragically ended her own life before the officers reached her. Casey was pulled from the vehicle alive and immediately arrested. He's sent back to prison, where he'll now spend the rest of his life behind bars. Love can be powerful, but blind devotion to the wrong person can destroy everything.